Okay, we'll have to manage this today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. A very happy new year to you. You know what we do in this community. We just want to do things better. We want to have financial freedom. We want to be financially fit, and we want to grow our wealth, and we want to retire well. We want to be able to help people. We want to master money. We don't want money to master us. Today, we're going to look at a conversation that has to do with reflecting on 2024 and then looking at what we can do better for 2025. As usual, I always say the things that we share when we come together like this are not exhaustive. And so you have more resources on my website and on my pages online. I have two guests today that will share from their wealth of experience. And at some point, we will share how you can contact and stay in touch with Coach P. I'm going to be calling her Coach P today, but I will introduce her, and you know her full names. So I have two of them, and I'm very grateful to them both for, doing this with our community. We are always appreciative because we know that some of these resources in other places, people have to pay to get them. I thank you so much, Coach P. You know why I'm thanking you. With short notice, with a lot of things on your table, you accepted to do this with us. Now, I'll quickly introduce her. Her full name's Patience Cario. I hope I pronounced that right. You want to correct me? Are you muted? You're muted. She's a US certified. Did I get it right?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, she's a US certified money coach. She's a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Accountants, and she is a financial fulfillment expert. You see why we brought her to start the year with us. She empowers individuals and professionals to achieve financial freedom and live purposefully through conscious money decisions. Please hold that in your right palm as we proceed today. Conscious money decisions. Those are the things we're going to be talking about. She has over 15 years experience in financial services, and she has certifications in coaching, accounting, and investment management. Coach P, like I'll be calling her today, helps clients break through money taboos and unlock sustainable prosperity. And that's what we all want. We don't want money. We don't want wealth that will disappear and filter away within a short period. Now, you can connect with her across social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram. On social media, she's at P Carew, which is C-A-R-E-W, but we will put it in the chat box for you to be able to, copy and have the correct details. On LinkedIn, she's Patience Carew on LinkedIn. And ladies and gentlemen, if you can, with your phones, use your smileys and your icons, help me welcome Coach P to this session. Our second guest is, we call him Pastor Nii, we call him Engineer Nii. He has refused to be called Coach Nii, but he's a very, we're used to seeing him on this platform. He's spoken to us at our annual FCBK annual workshops severally. He is a mechanical engineer and has over 29 years of experience in the oil and gas industry. He's a retail investor and a financial education sponsor. He's known on various investing forums as Wanajo, and is very passionate about educating people on how to use financial intelligence to make smart investment decisions toward wealth creation. He's one of the mentors on this platform. Yes, Alina has seen him before, she's clapping. He's one of the financial mentors on this platform, and he, like I said, he's spoken on our programs before. And I do have bonus and hidden guests for those that will stay back. So I have a surprise for you people today. As we proceed with the questions, if you stay back, you will hear from my own personal financial advisor. That's what I call him. Thank you so much, Coach P. I don't know what's happening to our second guest. His camera is off, but we will go ahead quickly with our questions. Do you want to say anything before I start throwing the questions at you, Coach P?
No, that's fine. I'll just carry on when you hand over to me.
Okay. So my first question to you. I know you coach.
We're starting right off.
Oh yeah, because before you know it, the 1 hour just goes.
Okay.
I just thought maybe if you had something to say different from the questions that I would be asking you. I can hear
That's
you.
okay.
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 Well, okay, I can hear you. Now, I know you coach people, and I know, your day job, which is not the subject of conversation today, but I know that you coach and you mentor people. Now, we say we want to look back at 2024, the errors and the mistakes, to see how we can do things better in 2025. I want you to please share with my audience today a few money mistakes that the people that you saw people you were mentoring and coaching last year, 3 mistakes that are made. And my audience, please, I want you to listen carefully. I am learning as well. I had a very long conversation with Engineer Nee today, and we were talking about things like this. Even people that are qualified still learn and can do things better. Over to you, Coach P.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Coach, Finance Coach BK, for bringing me on here. It is with great pleasure that I sit here today, to speak on what I love to speak on, money mindset coaching. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for sparing your evening to spend with us. It's the new year 2025, and I hope that this 2025 brings you so much laughter, joy, prosperity, clarity with everything that you do. My name is Patience Carey. My friends call me Coach P or P Carew. I'm a money mindset coach, as she has said, amongst the other things. Now, 2024 was an interesting year for nearly everyone, especially if you live in Nigeria. Okay, I'm assuming that the majority of us here live in Nigeria. And it's not fair to say that the mistakes were just my coaching clients. The mistakes were nearly everyone, because everybody has a relationship with money, right? So whether you are rich or you are poor, the complexities of our economic environment has impacted everybody. If you're in Nigeria, then you know that Forex, foreign exchange,
You're frozen. Wow.
as something that we need to hold ourselves, take ourselves very seriously as, but what we want to achieve, and I believe that that's the major reason Coach, Finance Coach BK has brought us here, is for us to really acknowledge how we have, processed our lives all through 2024, our finances. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You were a bit frozen, but you're back. You were frozen for a while, but you're back now.
Right. Okay. What did you hear me say? Should I change network? Or it's okay?
Which one is more stable at your end? I think it's okay now. Let's watch it.
Okay, just let me know, because I can see that. Yeah. So as I was saying, right, I said that it's for us to see how far we have come and then see the adjustments that can be made. So before I start to talk on mistakes that clients have made, I have also seen mistakes, that lapses here and there that I could have taken advantage of, I could have corrected, I could have adjusted. And one of the biggest things that I also learned, not just working with clients, but also with my own finances, is that things were changing, and I got to a point where it was either I adjusted, or it seemed like I was working on a path where I was is different from the reality. So you made plans, you think that you've set your goals, you know where you want to be in 3 years, and dollar has come and tripled, and then you're thinking, where do I start from? So those sorts of things were the things that I also had to deal with, right? And it made me realize that the things that they say to us about goals is that our goals have to be flexible. They tell us the SMART goals, but they didn't tell us one of the things that we needed to do was that we needed to be flexible. We needed to have goals that can adjust according to the changing times that we live in. I wanted to put this out so that you understand that the mistake, whatever mistake that you may have had, is not unique to just you. All of us have had to adjust. All of us have had to make amendments or adjustments. All of us have had to make adjustments with our finances, considering the economic climate that we're in, considering how inflation is going up, how a bag of rice has gone up, how everything else has gone up. Now, from my client's perspective, one of the biggest challenge that. So I will replace mistake with challenge. One of the biggest challenge that I experienced is many of them were unable to take actions. So you see, the thing is, we have a lot of knowledge, and we Nigerians were one of the most learned people around, right? We have access to information. We have Google. We have financial coaches. We read a lot. We have ChatGPT. We have it, but we don't take actions. And so that inability to take actions towards our goals, towards our desires, towards our intentions, or even towards our finances is what has held many of us back. We know we have to save. Principles of finance, savings, earning, investing, spending, all that. But the ability to take the right action, the daily right action that will move us to the direction or move us closer to what we want has been a big challenge for us. And what are those things that stop many of us or has stopped clients from taking actions? The first one is criticisms. We sit down and we fear what other people will say. If I change my children's school, what will my friends say? If I change my job, they would say, oh, maybe I'm not earning enough. If I do this, if I do that, what will people say? What will people say? It's another reason is also because we've not seen the people that we surround ourselves with, we've not seen them achieve even more or do better than we are doing. And so the environment that many of these clients or many of you surround yourself in or find yourself in due to life, providence, whatsoever reason, is also one of the biggest challenge that is holding or standing between you and your next level. Okay. And another thing that, stops or has stopped people from taking actions is laziness. Now, there's success, there's laziness, but without talking to the extreme part, laziness is that inability to do what you're meant to do at the right time, and you build up excuses, you build up reasons. So start saving or start budgeting or start tracking. You're lazy. You don't see it as laziness. And that laziness is disguised as procrastination, is disguised as no time, is disguised as too much traffic, is disguised as the economy is bad, and all of all those things. So yes, our inability to take actions is one of the biggest challenge. So when you give advice, when you say, okay, this is what is happening to you, okay, go and do this, we get back home and we revert to our comfort zone, right? So that's one of the biggest things. And if this is you, start to ask yourself, where in my life or where in 2024 did I fail to take prerequisite actions to move me towards or move me closer to the goals that I set or I have set? Or in 2025 right now, where do I need to take actions daily to move myself closer to where I want to be, right? Now, another thing is beliefs. The reason I'm sharing this is because I work from the psychology. So I start from the why in terms of your relationship with money. I teach from why you are the way that you are with money. I teach from why you save the way you do, why you earn the way you, because the why is the reason or is what shows or what directs how you make your investment decisions, how you do your spending, how you earn, your capacity to earn your worth, earn what you deserve, or even take on opportunities that are open to you. And so one of the principles or one of the biggest factors to your financial growth, financial stability, independence, freedom, security, whatever name you call it, is your beliefs. Now, the beliefs that you hold on to, right? The beliefs that you have, some of you are aware, some of you are not aware. They're actually rooted in the stories, in the convictions that you hold on to. Those stories are stories that have been passed on to you. Those stories are stories that you may also be telling yourself without realizing it. And when I say that, I mean on an unconscious level. Those stories are convictions and narratives that have been passed to you by your parents, by your religious leaders, by the books that you read, by the environment you find yourself in. Those are the things that direct you. Now, I'll give an example. You hear some people say, this is how we are. How are you? Have you challenged that sentence? This is how we are. This is how it is in my family. Have you challenged it? Some people come from families where there's a ceiling to their earning capacity. There's a threshold to how much they can earn or how much wealth they can get to. Those belief systems need to be questioned. They need to be challenged if you want to move to the next level. If you don't start to process how you think, because what you're thinking inside is what determines what you're thinking inside is what determines your. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you very well. I'm just it's so much, and I know that that's what happens when one wants. You're so passionate about what you're talking about, and you want people to grab it. I'm just looking for the right place to add another question to read. But please go on. You're talking about beliefs, and I want you to land on that because I have a follow-up question on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's important that I even talk on these beliefs, right? And let me give a scenario for that. I used to have a staff, she worked with me for a bit. And one of the things I would say to her is, so I don't want to call her name now. I would say, oh, what do you want to do? Where do you find yourself? And all this, especially at the start of the year. And she would say, I'm looking for a job in civil service. And I would say to her, I remember saying to her then that, why are you looking for a job in civil service? And that's all due respect to any of you in civil service, okay? Civil service in Nigeria is different from civil service abroad, if you know what I mean, right? So she said to me then, my mom, worked in civil service. My older sisters are in civil service. And I said, why do you want to work? She says, because my mom says that it's easier, it's more convenient, it's flexible, it allows me to do other things. And I said to her then, is it what you want, or is it what is working for your mom and your sister? Are you going to earn more? How does it help your financial future? So what I'm trying to point out there is that she has held on to that belief, that conviction that civil service is the way for her. And so she doesn't want to chase she doesn't want to chase anything more. She doesn't want anything that will push her. She doesn't want anything that will challenge her beyond that status quo. Now, whether it's working for them or it's not working for them is not the question. The point here is the belief. You hear people say, we don't make that type of money in our family. You hear people say, we are simple people. We don't want to be money. We don't want to be seen as money conscious. We don't want to be seen as chasing too much money. We are supposed to be, all those sorts of things. Those are beliefs. And then the third one, which is very critical, is savings and spending. Now, we all know that we are supposed to save, and we all know that we're supposed to manage our spending, right? That is open knowledge to everyone. Remember, I said at the beginning that all of us have knowledge. Nigeria, we have so much knowledge, right? But the use of the knowledge is a challenge, right? But there is a psychology to your savings, right? You save, but you save only to spend later. So I tell clients, go and join this saving app, go and do this, go and do that. But they're not saving for saving's sake. They're saving because they want to keep the money and spend the money back in December. They want to save that money for one frivolous or for one want, one hair or one clothes or one thing or one medical expense that would come. So you find that your challenge or the mistake that you're having with your saving is also rooted in your following the bandwagon. Is your feeling like, oh, you are missing out on something. There's so much that goes into your inability to save, and it's also your overspending. I don't want to push it too much. Do you want to go straight to the next questions, because these answers will overlap themselves?
Yeah, thank you very much, Coach P. And I hear you very well. People are unable and unwilling to change even when they have the knowledge. I just want to just say it here before we go on with this program that I want the audience, to approach this event with a very open mind. And I'm so sorry about the beeping. It has to do with the way we were set up today. So every time someone joins, we'll hear a beep. I want us to have a very open mind and say to ourselves that, after this event today or during this event, I'm going to take a list of the actions that I need to take, the habits that I want to change or that I need to change. So more like a self-reflection thing as we're going along. And then not only about the habits, also where can you get help and what help do you need? And I will just quickly come back to Coach P on this. You said all these things, what people don't want to do, what they're struggling with. I know the value, but I want another expert to talk about it so that the people in the audience will understand what's the place of having an accountability partner in all of this. How does it help people who are struggling to stay financially fit, people who are struggling to do the things that you have said? Are they better off when they're committed to having someone be their accountability partner, someone, to walk the talk with them?
So this is for me, right?
Yeah, that's for you. Or I can actually ask maybe to please take this question before I go to Pastor Nii.
Yes.
So I know the
Yes,
value.
yes,
I just want
yes,
you
yes.
as an expert to talk about it, because that's, you've said all the struggles that they have. And I do know, the value of having an accountability partner, someone who will be your finance personal coach.
So the concept of accountability partner is an interesting one. It's everybody needs a coach, everybody needs a supporter, everybody needs a mentor. I don't see, or I have never seen any successful person without the retinue of
thank you for saying
coaches,
that.
therapists, consultants, and all of that. So yes, accountability partner is not just your friend, it's also the people that you look up to, is the people that you listen to, the people you learn from. Now, in the concept, in this environment that we're saying, I believe what coach finance coach is saying is that, what are the resources that you need? Do you need a personal finance person, coach, or a financial planner, or a debt advisor, or a money coach? Where are you, and what sort of support do you need? We shouldn't feel embarrassed or feel any sort of shame to ask for the help that we deserve, right? They say that we rise by lifting others. Even the people that are lifted need us so that they can also rise. And so if we don't project ourselves in a way that helps us get the help that we need, we will stay stuck. You're struggling with your credit card. Have you reached out to a debt advisor? You are struggling with savings. Have you reached out to a personal? And even if you don't have the resources to pay for these services, there are a lot of information online. I know that if you follow Coach BK on her page, she has lots of information on saving, spending, and so many other coaches have communities that are free that you can leverage on. There's even Google, there's so much resources. And like I said, the problem is not the information. The problem is for us to take action. And that's where the job of the accountability partner comes in. And whoever that accountability partner is, that person handholds you through that process, through that season of your life, to get from one point to the other. It's the same job, whether the person is a counselor, the person is a mentor, the person is a coach, a therapist, or your friend, or your partner, or some boss that you look up to. As long as that person is handholding you from point A to point B, that is an accountability partner. So if you're struggling or you don't want to find one, please, you need one this 2025 to help you achieve your goals.
Yeah, you've just said exactly what I wanted you to say. I wanted you to say it because I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a chartered banker, but I have coaches, I have accountability partners. Well, the first one being my spouse. I have people who ask me what I'm doing with my money, what I'm planning to do with my money. And then I have people who I ask before I take money decisions, people who I come to, and I had a conversation with you, Coach P, when we're planning this program. So I want people around the call, a to-do thing, a to-do on your list. If you don't have someone who is mentoring you, and trust me, I have chief executives that talk to me, and they don't talk to me because they want, they're paying me, but they just want to tap out of the knowledge that I have from, speaking with people, and they're better off for it. And so thank you very much, Coach P. So
I wanted to add something for you, right? Yeah. You see this thing about accountability partner, very profound. One of the factors that affects our relationship with money and our journey towards financial freedom is also lack of role models. Mm-hmm. You don't have to wait for your parents to do the things that they were supposed to do. You don't have to wait for your spouse. You don't have to wait for anyone. That's where the person in form of accountability partner or coach or mentor comes in. A lot of people are stuck because they have no mentor, they have no role model, they have nobody that has replicated the type of success that they want to see. And so opening yourself up to the right support, to the right set of people, the environment will, open you up to possibilities. Right? I wanted to put that there because role model, mentorship, and all of all those things is very critical.
Thank you so much. I know the value of, the benefits I've gotten from having people ask me questions and be, my accountability partners. Thank you so much. Engineer Nii, I don't know why your camera is not on, but I hope you can hear me because I need to give Coach P some time to rest her voice. The next question is for you. All right, good to see your face. Thank you so much. I wish I could ask you both, your perspectives on each of the questions, but we don't have the time. So I would have to make do with, the position from either of my guests. Ladies and gentlemen around the call, for those people that registered, one of the benefits of registering is that you stay connected. You have an opportunity to stay connected to my guests. And because I know some people have joined with just, the joining link. But if you did register, the benefits are that you get to hear about opportunities and you get to hear up-to-date information on what is happening in the money realm. Thank you so much, sir. Now, some of the questions we're asking today or we're discussing today are our questions or my questions, and some are questions from people who have registered. So this one for Pastor Niyi is from someone, and the person says the value of the Naira kept dropping last year. Remember that we are reflecting. And I'm scared of losing the little I have saved. The question is, how can I protect my money or invest it safely? Now, there's a second question, and because we're limited by time, I want you to take it together. And the question is, should we even be saving? And can you please distinguish between saving and investing for this audience? Is it clear, or should I repeat
it? No problem. Thanks. Let me first of all start by saying I'm not an expert. I'm not a chartered accountant. I'm not a chartered banker.
Chartered engineer.
So basically, I will just be sharing experiences with us, and maybe we can learn a few things. The first question to ask is, why was the Naira falling? Or what are the things that happened in 2024? Or even starting from 2023 in Nigeria? And what's the impact on all of us? And how did we respond? And how should we have responded? But before I start with that, let me just even put a disclaimer. Like they will tell you in investment, past experiences is not guarantee for past performance is not guarantee for future returns. So that something happened in 2024 does not mean it's going to happen in 2025. So we really need to be careful of that. Now, what are the things that shaped 2024? Number one, fuel subsidy was removed. And basically, because of that, we saw petrol price move from around 200 naira in the middle of 2023 to 1,000 naira as it is now. That's a huge, huge jump. We also have a situation whereby Nigeria is an economy that lives and depends on oil. Every other person just feed off from that. And we saw a situation whereby our oil production that used to be above 2 million barrels dropped to below 1 million barrels. So just imagine that you get to the office and they reduce your salary by 60%. That's basically what happened to Nigeria. We are also a society that we've developed some certain tastes. And everything foreign is assumed to be the best. So all of us want imported goods. We don't produce anything apart from oil, or we produce very little thing apart from oil that other people need. So that's what led to the devaluation of the Naira. And that also created some ripple effect. The main one was inflation. So we saw inflation jump to 35% year on year. Food inflation was like 40%. What that means is the loaf of bread you used to buy for 1,000 naira in January. By December, that same loaf of bread is now 1,400 naira. And you need to ask yourself, what are the things I should have done in January to prepare myself for what happened in December when I start to buy that bread in 1,400. Now, what some people did, which is usually what you do when you expect devaluation, is to hedge your risks. Now, there is no investment that does not have a risk. So a number of people at the beginning of the year converted their naira to dollars. So because of that singular action, they've edged their risk at the beginning of the year. I think dollar was about, in the black market, was about 800 or thereabout. At the end of the year, it was about 1,006 or thereabout. So if I've converted my money, I will have edged the devaluation that happened. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but if you ask me, are we going to have the same type of devaluation in 2025? I would say it is highly unlikely. The reason is because crude oil production has moved up. We are now producing about 1.5 million barrels. Hopefully, in the course of the year, we should be able to get to 1.8 million barrels. Secondly, our major import before was importing petroleum products because refineries were not working. We do not refine any crude here in Nigeria. That has changed. Now we are able to stop importation of petroleum products, so we are not spending dollars to import again. So I would say the risk is much more reduced now. But generally, what I advise people to do is this. If you know you have forex expenses, then you need to make foreign denominated investment to protect yourself. Because like I said, nobody has a crystal ball that can say, sure, this is what is going to happen. So if you think you are going to be paying school fees in the near future, then you need to start to think of making foreign denominated investment. And there are quite a number of them. Now we talk about, should we save at all? I mean, if you don't save, then there is a problem. Because about the effect of the valuation. It's like my mother would say, a child that does not, that is dead has already failed an exam. It's a privilege, better than others. So saving is the barest minimum. But some of us will say, look, I'm not able to save, which could be fair because your expenses are already more than your income. And that's why I always advise people at the beginning of the year or before the beginning of the year, draw up a plan, have a budget. My income, my expenses. What you spend your money on, what you spend your time on is an indication of what is important to you. Unfortunately, for most of us, we spend our time, we spend our money on things that are not going to take us to the destination that we want to get to. And that's supposed to be the starting point. Ensure that your time and your money goes to things that are important to you and will lead you to the destination where you want to be. So savings is the first step. Now, what's the difference between savings and investment? We've just talked about inflation. So if you save your 1,000 naira, at the beginning of the year, that 1,000 naira can buy you a loaf of bread. So you've saved it and you've done well. You've prepared money that you are going to use to buy bread and you've saved it. At the end of the year, when you now want to buy the bread is now 1,400 because the food inflation in Nigeria was 40%. So you are not able to afford that bread again. It looks very simple, but this affected a lot of people. People that have saved money that they are going to use to pay school fees. By the time they are supposed to make the payments, school fees have jumped up, so they could not do that again. There are people who have been saving money to buy a car. They've kept the money, but the time when they want to buy the car, the price have jumped up exponentially. So they cannot afford the car again. Someone does send me a message now that some people are driving their last cars in Nigeria. So that's what inflation does. So if you stop with saving, then you are going to have an issue. So what is expected is you need to invest the money that you have saved, and the target is that the return on your investment should be more than inflation. So that's what you try to do when you invest. Now, I won't say it is easy to achieve, but it is possible. So if I look at Nigeria, like I said, inflation last year was 34%, but the return on the Nigerian Stock Exchange average was 37%. So if I've invested my 1,000 naira at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, I will have about 1,370. So that's the main difference between savings and investment. The return of savings is very small, but it is good because if you don't save, you cannot even think of investing. So you need to move to investment. And there are various investment options. Every investment comes with its own risk, and you need to be sure that you are doing investment that align with your risk profile, that aligns with your personality. That also is very, very important. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. As usual, when we come together like this, there's always a lot of possible things we can talk about. And whilst, just like Coach P said, there's so many, financial fitness concepts that many people around the call already know about. They know about budgeting, saving and all of that. So the conversation this evening, I would like to make it very practical, which is what you're already doing, Pastor, so that people can go back with, things that they can relate with and, that can help them going forward in 2025. And that's why I will keep looking at the questions that I've received from people in the audience rather than, more than the questions that I have put together. And so I'm going to ask you now about, I'm going to ask a question which, if I didn't have the level of financial fitness that I have right now, I put myself in that position and just wonder, So I'm going to read 3 questions. They are from people, but they're all related. And then I would ask Coach P to take the first attempt at it, and then I'll come back to you, Pastor. In this community, we teach with the ESI model. We say we want to achieve financial freedom, we want to grow our wealth, and that there are 3 major things that we do. We want to earn more, we want to save better, and we want to invest well. And that's the ESI model that we focus on. And we say that as long as we can do these 3 things very well, and take the right decisions and actions at the right time, then we can achieve financial fitness and then grow wealth. Now, this person says, and I relate with this person's question. I've heard people talk about multiple income streams, but I'm not sure what will work for someone with a full-time job. What are some realistic options I can explore? That's one question. And then somebody says, this another question, all related to, multiple streams of income. With the cost of living rising, how can people adjust their spending? No, that's not about income, sorry. With the rise in unemployment, what advice do you have for those looking to create new income streams in Nigeria's current economy? So we're looking, I have a full-time job, what can I do on the side hustle, how can I, make more money? There's a third one, and it says many people in Nigeria are facing job insecurity or low salaries. One of the registered persons has said, how can I create new income streams to secure my future? So these 3 questions are about, earn more, the E aspect of our ESI model. Someone is in paid employment, very ethical, a good human being, and it's not his or her fault that the government policies are, as you have outlined them earlier on, Pastor. So, Coach P, or Pastor, who wants to take the first attempt at this? What should people in paid employment do?
Okay, let me go first. Pastor Adedi. First and foremost, we live in a volatile economy right now. We are currently in a volatile economy. If you have a job, to God be the glory, alhamdulillah, hold that job first before we now start thinking about multiple streams of income. Because if you're unemployed or if you're not earning something at the end of the month, your 30 days, how are you going to pay for data? How are you going to enter transport and do all that? Now, you need data, right? To do some of these multiple streams of income ideas that are flowing everywhere, right? I have a virtual assistant. She's here with me. I've never met her. We've worked together for 2 years. She needs data every month, right? So if you have a paid employment and you're thinking, what do I need to do? One of the things you can do is virtual assistant work. I know because she's doing one, and I know that that's one of the many things she does amongst all the other things that she has going for her. So if you're in paid employment, and I always say, even to my staff, ex, current, new, I say to them, the job that earns you money, whatever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might, do it with pleasure, do it with happiness, in the hope for something better. Don't despise it, because obviously that's what you have at hand to do, right? So you need to earn that money to pay for data. You need to earn that money to learn a new skill. To create multiple streams, to create income from other sources, you need to learn a new skill. Sometimes, some of these jobs these days, to do AI now, there's a lot of, job or whatever adverts. Every time I open YouTube now, I see things like learn something or learn a new skill with AI, learn this with AI and all of that. The digital space is evolving. It's even moving at a speed that is even beyond our own comprehension. So many of us are even playing catch up. Fintech is evolving. There's cryptocurrency, there's digital currencies, so many things that you can learn. So if you are the type that likes book, then learning a new skill is another way to create income for yourself. But do you have the tenacity, the patience, the discipline to wait and learn that skill over 3 months, over 90 days, 60 days, 1 to 6 months to then now monetize that skill? So I've talked about virtual assistants. I've talked about learning a new skill. Now, what other thing can you learn? If you don't like to read books, can you cook? Can you? I remember, one of my neighbors. She was a business. I think she had something she was doing, but she used to make chin chin. Now, I didn't make any big deal out of that chin chin until a few years ago. I started seeing the chin chin NAFDAC approved in Ebano supermarkets. Hear me, if you know Ebano, you would know Ebano is a big supermarket in Lekki, in VI, and where else they are in, right? Or they're at, right? And I saw her chin chin, then I thought, oh my God, this woman has gone global. Because the remaining thing now is for her to export those chin chin. And it doesn't mean that she's not still doing other things. I still see her name in the newspaper. So what are the other things that you can do aside learning a skill, being a virtual assistant? Can you also learn freelancing job? The other day, 2 years ago, when I was struggling with my time, I needed someone to do emails for me, to do my emails for me. I reached, and somebody told me about Fiverr and Upwork. And I reached out, regular people, only for me to dig in further and realize that many of them were even Nigerians. And they were right, and I paid $25, $15. I paid for that service. And these are skills and things that I'm speaking from my own personal experience, right? The services that I have paid for. I've talked about cooking, I've talked about AI jobs, virtual assistants, but there are other things as well. Some people are into Forex trading. Just the other day, I paid for someone to teach my son Forex trading. And so that means that company that is teaching them has trained other people, they've trained themselves. The thing is, it's not that there are not opportunities for us. It's that the environment that we find ourselves in might be restrictive, constrictive, or it's also that we ourselves, are we willing to inconvenience ourselves? Are we willing to put the discipline and the time that it takes to develop ourselves, to create more from ourselves? Because we are all a bunch of energy, right? Everything that we need for money to come to us, we need to exchange value. We are in a value exchange. Money flows around. So I need to give you something to make money off you. Money is not going to come, except, of course, today I was telling my husband, the only way you don't worry about money is if you inherit the money and the money just falls upon you. And then you can do loud. But if you have to make the wealth that you want or create that wealth that you want, then you've got to put in the time, the energy, the persistence, the diligence, and the perseverance, and then the consistency. And you've also got to practice delayed gratification. Pastor Adeni was saying something about when he talked about saying that ensure that you have time and money, your time and money goes into things that are important to you. If you don't practice delayed gratification, if you don't do that thing where you say, okay, these are my priorities, even when you get multiple, even when you get jobs and it's creating other source of income, even when you have side hustles, you'll still be in the same hole you were in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2024. It was, the cycle still continues. And that's why you find that even people that make quick monies, even people that are making so much money in tech, so much money, they're still losing the money. People that are winning lottery, they're still losing the money, because it's not that the money is not there, or it's not that they don't have. Some people are blessed with the capacity to create wealth. Some people are blessed with the capacity to make money. But how are they able to keep that wealth in a sustainable way that outlives them or caters to their life in the longest term? How is that even possible? So beyond thinking about, okay, what else can I do to create money? You've also got to watch, how you relate to, how you interact with money in terms of your savings, in terms of your spending. And I'll come to that later. But for multiple streams of income, there's so much you can do. There's agriculture. Many people don't know that they can actually write to the Ministry of Agriculture to source for funding, local funding for their agriculture ideas or whatever investments they want to do. Many things that we can do. Google has a lot. Like I said, the information is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. But are we willing to take necessary actions to do that? So over to you, Pastor Adeni.
Thank you so much, Coach P. That's a whole lot. Pastor, please allow me to answer Mary, who says, how can we get a recording of this meeting? So we will be posting the edited, well, when I say edited, we've cut out the preambles, the greetings at the beginning. We're posting it to our YouTube channel, which is at Finance Coach BK YouTube channel. Dorcas, can you please put it in the chat box? And we do have a recording, if not more than one or two, which focused on multiple streams of income. I think one day during the 2024 annual workshop, financial literacy workshop, was focused on multiple streams of income. So you can get like 40 minutes of recording that has details of different kinds of things that you can do. Pastor, over to you, sir. And I know you always say that when we meet like this, we're a cluster of different ages. So we have young graduates, we have people who are facing retirement, and we have mid-level management kind of people. So please bear that in mind when you're recommending the kind of things or how people can earn multiple, on the side.
Okay, thanks. I'm actually not going to recommend any, but what I will say is I'm also in paid employment, so I can relate with what they are talking about. But really, it's all about meeting people's needs in such a way that they are willing to pay for it. So where you find yourself will determine the kind of needs around you. And now look for how you can meet those needs. Look at the problems around you. See how you can solve that problem. And when you solve the problem, look at how many people are willing to pay for that problem. And that's how businesses are created. That's how you earn other income. That's one. The other one is you want to earn income when you sleep. So in your work, it has nothing to do with your work. So I think every month, federal government does this savings bond. The minimum is 5,000 naira. And every quarter, they pay you equivalent of 15% annualized. Now, the whole transaction will take me maybe 30 minutes. Fill the form, submit it through my broker, and that's it. And 3 months after, I'm going to get an alert. That's an income that is coming. It's not disturbing my work. I love gardening a lot. It's something that I like, something that I'm interested in. I think over the years, I have not bought any plants that will cost me more than maybe 10,000 naira. That would be the most expensive plant. And that's why I like what the other speaker said about changing our beliefs. until I met a neighbor who bought a palm for 400 and something thousand naira. Now, if I've come here to tell you that you can sell a plant for 400 and something thousand naira, I'm sure most of you will say it's impossible. But I met my neighbor and said, how much did you buy this plant? He will tell me the amount. I can propagate plants myself. What does it take? Just do a cutting, put it in the soil, water it, it will grow. Now, she cannot do that, so she will go and buy. And I'm looking at how much she's buying the plant. I say, look, I can be giving you this thing for free because I can do it. Now, if I ask her to pay, she will pay for it. So just look at what people need as you move around, as you interact with people you come across. Just sit down and look at them, see a need. How can you be of help to them? That's important. Don't just go how we say, I want to make money. No. Look at people, see, I mean, you see a woman struggling with her child, taking the child to school. Maybe you can help that woman to be taking her child to school. She will pay you for it because you are meeting a need that is freeing her to do other things. So, in as much as I don't want to recommend, I will just ask us to look around us, see what people need, and design either a service or a product that can meet those needs, and you can be sure people will pay for it. Investment is another way of having multiple streams of income, and some of them you can do with as little as 5,000 naira. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. So why we say, anybody, if I have new guests around the call who haven't been part of our conversations in the past, then you need to get used to the ESI model that we're talking about or that we use in this community. So we have talked about the E and we said we want to earn more. Now there's one thing that we also, well, that I like to tell my audience is that in whatever position that you're in, look around and make sure that you're not earning from one source of income. Coach P has highlighted some possibilities. Pastor has added to it, look for a need. What are you passionate about? Is there a need around you? And Coach P said it, the internet is open for everybody. ChatGPT will help you. Just put the location, say what service can I render here? But having said that, remember where we started from. When I said we all should take notes from this conversation, what can I do better? Even, I know I have some very senior people around the call. I have some, people who are relatively senior management around the call. But don't go into 2025 doing things the way you did in 2024. What can you do better? Pastor Niyi said, make money, let money work for you, which is the ultimate goal of this, this forum, this community. We all want to have financial freedom. We didn't start by defining financial freedom today and all of that. But what Pastor Niyi was talking about, your money working for you when you sleep, is the ultimate. That's the ultimate place we all want to get to, have financial freedom. And so, making passive income, there's a conversation, we have a recording on our YouTube all about that. So please, if you were not using your money, if you're in paid employment and you're a consultant, you're making so much money, and you have not started directing what you're making from your active income to begin to generate passive income for you, please put it down on your notes today that 2025 is either I'm going to get a side hustle or I'm going to make an investment that will give me passive income. And for people who will be patient enough to wait to the end, I said I have a bonus. I have my own personal financial advisor on this call today, and he's going to answer just one question if you stay back about investment. Thank you so much, Pastor Niyi. Thank you so much, Coach P. Now, there are so many more questions, but I think I want to go to this one, and not because many people around the call don't know about it, but because I want to emphasize it. Earlier on, I had to answer Pastor Niyi several times to explain to him that people don't know, not because they want to be in that place of lack of knowledge. They just don't know that they should do things better. And Pastor Niyi said to me that when I started work, I knew that I was going to leave work one day. So why will I not prepare for retirement? And I said to him, people know differently. Now, this question is for you, Pastor Nii, and I'll let Coach P talk after you have talked on this one. How can we effectively balance saving for retirement while managing the current expenses? And the reason I'm asking you, just talk about it. We have recordings on our website on retirement planning and all of that. But I want you to call attention to the need to plan for the golden years now that we're earning well. And that's because I have some very, senior people around the call who I don't know, perhaps they are part of the community you were talking about earlier on that don't know and haven't started retirement planning so well. Now, the second question is, what is the role of financial education in things like this? And I will come back to Coach P on that one. The place of financial education, all these things that we're talking about. You're muted, sir.
Okay, thanks. So,
pardon me, sir. Pardon me. Let me quickly just read the comment so that we don't get over it. It's about the multiple streams of income. And one of our participants says, people need, they need resources. There's a need for people with integrity who are hardworking and they are not readily available. So make yourself one so that you can be sought after. So we're talking about multiple streams of income. There are so many services and products around. Make yourself stand out by being a person of integrity and a person who works hard and who is committed to delivering what they have promised. Sorry to cut you in. I just didn't want to forget that.
Yeah, and that's a very good comment. We would say many people are looking for jobs, but there are also many vacancies that are difficult to fill because people don't just meet the requirements. And some of them are, how many people can you trust with your money? Can you leave your house and say, take care of it? Because people lack integrity. Now, retirement planning. I'm not retired, so maybe I'm not the best person to speak about this. But again, one of the things I did growing up is to learn from what is happening around me. And I saw quite a number of that. Now, whether you handle well or not, from the first day you take up an employment, everything that has a beginning will have an end. So start to think and do things with that end in mind. Time moves so fast. I know people, when they took up employment, like, no, I'm not going to spend more than 4 years there. And in the twinkle of an eye, 4 years is gone. Okay? So when you start to work, know that you are going to live or at one point in time. That's number one. Number two, I was fortunate to have somebody talk to me when I started work. He happens to be a pastor.
Sorry, can you please mute yourself if you're not the speaker? I'm trying to know who the person is. So I can mute the person. I can't get the name. Okay, the person is muted. Go on, sir.
Okay. So I had somebody who talked to me when I started working. She's a pharmacist. She's not a financial advisor. She's not a coach. And she said something that was profound. He said, look, when you start working, for most people, your income is more than your expenses. I mean, you are a student earning zero income. Suddenly you graduated, you started working. So from zero, you start earning 100,000 or whatever. That's a huge jump in your income just overnight. And she said, your expense is going to rise faster than your income. Because you started working, then you look at yourself one day, no, I can't be taking public transport, it stains my clothes. You try to justify all the decisions you are now about to make. Then you remember that the house you are living is not very comfortable for you. When you get in the office the following day, you are stressed up, so you go and get accommodation. Then you get married. So your expenses are rising, but your income are not rising at the same rate. So the person said, you have a duty to yourself. At that initial stage, when your income is more than your expense, you need to look for a way to transfer that excess to your future. Because after some time, which is what quite a number of people are facing now, your expense will be more than your income. That's when you start to say, we are now living paycheck to paycheck. Before the month will end, you are already collecting loan from this place, from that place. You already have loans to meet some critical expenses, school fees and things like that. So for those who are just starting, have that at the back of your mind. You need to, and I think the first speaker mentioned it, there is what is called delayed gratification. It's not everything that you can buy that you can afford. Don't think because you can pay for something, okay, there is a car, you can pay for the car, yes. Does not mean you can afford that car, because after you've paid for the car, the tire of the car, you will have to replace it one day. When they give you the bill, that's when you know that that car is beyond you. You should not afford that car. So you have a challenge when you are starting life. For the younger ones, look for a way to transfer the excess to your future. So instead of eating everything, instead of trying to be the hottest girl or the hottest boy in town, instead of being the rave of the moment, instead of wearing the latest designer, that there is a future and you need to transfer the excess of that your income to the future. Now, for those who have missed that boat, now they need to do some structural adjustment programs. You need to take some very hard decisions. There was something that person told me also. He said, look, two things must never meet together in the life of a man. And the same thing applies to a woman. Poverty and old age. When you are young, if I don't have money for transport as a young person, I jog a little, I run a little, everybody will assume I'm doing exercise. I will get to where I'm going. It's going to be stressful, it's going to be painful, but I will get there. But as an old man, 70, you don't have money for transport. By the time you take 2 or 3 steps, you will slump. That's the reality of age. So you should now start to ask yourself, what can I do to manage my expenses? And that's where I think the challenge is for a lot of people. We are not very intentional about controlling our expenses. We all try to justify and make it sound as if all those expenses are necessary, are important. For example, I mean, one of the things I did was I cut off my DSTV subscription. I don't need it. I can do without it. If I don't have DSTV subscription, I will survive. That's between 20,000 naira saved. I can put that money in savings bond, make 17% on it. When I retire, whatever it becomes, every quarter, I have something coming in addition to my pension. DSTV will not thank me for all the money I'm donating to them. Secondly, I always advise people, if there is any product that you consume a lot, don't just be a consumer of that product. Become a shareholder in that business. So that as you are giving them your money and they are making profit, let them be sharing that profit with you in dividends. Some of us, we pay money to MTN every day. We buy data. But if I ask you, do you have shares now of MTN? It is no. Some of us, we are already planning to buy iPhone. Is it, which one is the latest? 16. You are donating money to Apple, but you are not thinking of buying shares in Apple. Why? Anything that you consume, because you are consuming it because you believe it is good, because it is good business, then become a shareholder in that business. Not only the luxury item, you always buy palm oil. You use it to cook, use it to do anything. There is a company producing palm oil. Go and buy their shares too. So if you have missed the era of transferring the excess, then this time around, cut on your expenses, create some savings, and you now need to invest those savings. Doing nothing is not an option at all, because whether you like it or not, one day, you will leave that employment, that parts of office will go. And the most difficult thing, well, maybe not difficult is the right word. One of the things you don't want is for a drop in your standard of living just because you leave paid employment. And for those who have not calculated it, usually by the time you leave paid employment, you can be sure your pension is going, it will not be more than maybe 50% of your current income. And they don't increase pensioners' salary like that. So you can imagine, I know some pensioners, they got 8% increment this year. In an environment where inflation, food inflation was like 40%. So some of them cannot afford to buy a bag of rice again. They cannot. So please, if you're on that trajectory, you need to cut down on your expenses. And there are so many things. I mean, there is nothing stopping you from having a container garden. People say they live in Lagos, they don't have space. In a bag of cement, you can plant yam. You can plant vegetables. Pawpaw is very easy to grow. Pawpaw will almost grow even on cement. That's how easy it is. So you don't need to spend money to buy certain things because you can produce it yourself. And by doing that, you are saving. You are cutting down on your expense. You are having savings that you can now invest for the future, because that future will definitely come. You can't escape it. And it's not only in Nigeria, it's the same all over the world. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. You know, so this conversation, sometimes we wish we could go on. And I thank Coach P for her patience. She says that I should take extra time if I need to. You know, there was a pastor that I was listening to, I think last week, who shared something very funny. And he said, when a man is pretending to be asleep, that he's the only one that knows when he will wake up. Coach P, you understand? He's in deceit, he's in self-denial. He's the only one, he's pretending to sleep. And so no matter how much you and I, Coach P, try to wake up the person, he's deceiving himself. He's the one pretending to sleep. So he's not going to wake up until he's ready to wake up. Now, the reason why I said that is that, you know, we have financial education, we're learning, you know, like you started off at the beginning, Coach P, we know these things. Why don't we take action? Now, I really plead with every one of us around the call. I know the things that I can do better. I know the things that I didn't do so well last year. And I know that the things that I can do better, you know, this year. We all need to go away with something. I don't know how you're going to do it. The questions have come from people who are in paid employment. How can they earn money on the side? You know, some people are not in paid employment. How can they even begin to earn? Coach P said, yes, some people are in civil service. How, if you're in civil service and you're working for government, how can you earn in your spare time? So you have to ask yourself those questions. And that's why we're having this conversation. Not necessarily because we have all the answers in today's conversation, but because we want to ask ourselves these questions. We want to go back. You know, I was so, you know, I don't know if the word is excited to hear Coach P say she got someone to teach her son Forex trading. Now, I don't know how old he is, whatever age he is, she's trying to set him on the path of earning from outside of active income, because as soon as he starts earning from that side, it's probably going to be passive on top of what he will be doing later. So what can you do better? And there was something that Coach P said at the beginning. She said, there's no embarrassment about any error that you made in 2024. You know, there's no embarrassment. If you made mistakes Go out and tell the person, you made mistake. I mean, go out, tell yourself you made mistake and seek help. I'm going to ask Coach P to take this part B of the question because Pastor Nee didn't, and she, he said he's not a coach like us. So let her deal with that. Coach P, I want you to, help the people around the call. We've talked about, we hear these things, we hear these things. How important is it to have financial education? And it's not only the basics of financial education, to constantly stay educated, to be ahead of the, I call it the game. And how can people stay financially educated? After that, I'll take some investment questions so that we can wrap up for the day.
Okay. Let me first of all acknowledge Pastor Nee. You said I could plant yam inside a bag of cement. I'm very interested in how to do that because the cost of yam is troubling me. So I'm very interested in learning how to plant that yam.
You love yam.
inside that bag of cement. So I'll reach out to you after the session on that.
Yeah, my sister-in-law did it too. I know it's doable. Yeah.
Okay. And then you also said something about when someone is pretending to sleep. There's also something I tell all my clients. If you like, sleep from 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock, whatever time. When you wake up is your morning. Okay, so my morning is what I define my awareness or my awakening season might be different from what is your own awakening season or your own consciousness or whatever, or when you decide to start doing something right. Now, this topic on financial education, let me take it across two demographics. So I would start with the retirement people, the people in the age brackets of retirement, approaching retirement, thinking about retirement, or are in retirement. Very, very interesting. A couple of, I think it was just last year or the year before, I actually taught on retirement planning for some bankers. So yes, I know a little bit about the mindset of retirement and all of that. And so I would take it from two angles. Like I said, I would talk on people close to retirement, and then I would come back to financial education for every one of us and what we need to do. So like I said at the start, the issue is not that we're not financially educated or we don't have resources to get educated or we don't have information. We have all the information. The issue is, what do we do with the information that we have? Now, for those that are approaching retirement, for those that are close to retirement or thinking, I think one of the challenge that they experience is that they're not being prepared. Majority of the employees or people approaching retirement or older people that are approaching 60, or they've run their own, even self-employees or self-employed people that own their businesses and all of that. The issue of retirement and succession planning also impacts them as well. It's one of the biggest things that they concern themselves with. So it's not only employees that think about retirement. People that have businesses also think about how they're going to run that business or keep or maintain a sustainable cash flow into their much older or senior years in life. Now, there are a whole lot of issues around it, and the financial education or the awareness or sensitization is not so big. If you're not intentional about working towards your senior years, you're going to find yourself right bang in the middle of it, and you're playing catch up. Some companies take it upon themselves to start to train their employees, but if only they would do it 5 years to 2 years to, but not in the year of retirement, not 6 months to retirement. Because I hope you all can hear me, because I can see notification about my internet. Coach BK, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Coach BK, am I loud and clear?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, now, absolutely. So what happens is, some organizations are quite good, but they start a little too late. And so the time horizon that employees or people need to plan for retirement is not so wide, especially if they haven't been intentional with their finances. Now, I will speak on being intentional with your spending or finances later, but let me just focus. Now, the issue with the retirement is there's a lot of anxiety once you start approaching 50, 45. In fact, it's no more 50 years. It's from 45, it's from 40. They say life begins at 40. It's a lie. Your life begins any day, any time. So the anxiety that comes with it. Many people have worked, many people have been privileged to work in secured environments, companies where they've created identities for themselves. I'm a CFO, I'm a CEO, I'm the head of transition, I'm the head of this. And those are identities that you have attached your self-esteem to. Even your financial self-esteem is already attached to it. So when you get out of job, it becomes an issue for you. Your identity becomes something that you worry about. You now link it to your own financial world as well. And then it now impacts on your capacity to earn outside of what you have been known to do. Over familiarity, things, worrying about what to do with your spare time. These are things they haven't had the privilege, or they haven't had the opportunity to start their own business prior to leaving the job. And which is why even learning side hustles, learning things about what are the things that I can do, start learning how to do things on your own by yourself would help as you approach your senior age. Now, things that you start to prepare, or as you approach retirement, you start to think about your health and well-being. Because if you don't have life, or if you don't have good health, or you're not living what you call it now, your well-being is in doubt or whatever, how are you going to how do you project that you're going to be alive for the next 15 years of your life, right? And what are the things you need to think about? Your health, you need to think about your food. I will come to that anyway. Now, insurance. These are part of the things they will teach you, or you're meant to start to know once you are approaching the age of retirement, or you're thinking of stopping work. What are you exposed to in terms of insurance? What are the policies that come with the pension fund? I know Pastor Nee talked about pension. For those of you that are contributing money into your pension, are you aware that are you aware of the Pension Act and how you're able to access 25% when you're 50% as you start to get older or into your senior ages? Are you aware of annuity? All those sorts of small things. So it's not just thinking about retirement and what I will do with my time. It's now thinking, how can I stay sustainable? How can I live, if not really the lifestyle I'm living now, but how can I live at least a comfortable life, a relatively where I can pay my bills and not see my children as my retirement plan, and not see something outside of myself as my retirement plan. There's also your income. I know we've talked a lot about income, expenses, but how you start to use your income, like Pastor Niyi was talking about, the investment decisions you make now impacts your senior years. So are you taking long-term investments? Are you investing in things that you know? What are you investing in? How are you using the money that you earn from the job to invest in products that will give you reinvestment income that you will reinvest? How are you compounding your savings over time? So much so that when they accumulate, you can invest them in things that will produce income for you in your much senior years. And also, we think that retirement is the end. Like when we retire, we're not useful. That is where education also comes in. That is where awareness comes in, right? It's a new phase of your life. It's an opportunity for you to express, for you to start to live in a more expansive way. It's a time where you start to give back. And I will tell you some of the ways that you can give back, right? I've talked about insurance, savings, income, and your health. Now, what are the options for retirement for people that are approaching retirement? What are your options? See it as an opportunity to start to earn new streams of income. You have aged. You have a wealth of experience that you need to now start giving out. There's so much inside of you that you need to share. Opportunities like mentoring, like consulting, doing business management. If you are an accountant, how can you start to provide solutions for smaller businesses? How can you can write a book, you can do business analysis, you can even learn new skills in tech, web, and all those things, right? Now, if you haven't started thinking about what you can do in terms of expanding your income, now is the best time to consult financial planners and advisors on the best plan for your cash flow. It doesn't matter what you're earning. There is time. I say that when you wake up is your morning. If you wake up at 50 years and you decide that, oh, this is what I want to be, God's willing, you have time to start to recreate the future that you desire. Fine, there will be inconveniences, there will be lack here and there, deprivations here and there. But if you have a goal in mind, if you have that purpose and all of that, now, what other things you can do is you can repurpose, you can repackage yourself. retirement is not the beginning, it's not the end, right? You can repackage yourself in different ways. You can recreate things for yourself. You can research. You can reposition yourself. You can start to do collaborations. I know some people that partner with younger people. You find some people, when they want to reinvent themselves, when they want to reposition themselves, they start to partner with younger people and start to leverage on such collaborations, right? Now, in terms of health, I know that, we can work to a point where it becomes very detrimental to our health and well-being. As we get older, our body mechanisms also start to change, hormonal imbalances, muscles giving way, and all those things, right? What are you doing with your fitness? How are you improving your brain power? They say if you read for 15 minutes every day or every other day or whatever, 15, 30, but whatever it is, it improves your brain power. Are you doing puzzles? You don't know it, but the way that you treat your health also impacts your finances, because your finances is a reflection of how you earn, how you save, how you invest. And so all those energy that you put into it, if you are consistently out of energy, if you are consistently experiencing drain in your own energy as a person, you will not be able to show up. And this is for retirees or people that are approaching retirement, right? The food that you eat, your salt intake, the carbs that you take, how you fast intermittently. If you have heard of the word autophagy or whatever, go and read it up. It's the duration of the fasting and how it helps your metabolism. Now, just because you are approaching retirement or just because you are in your senior years doesn't mean that you neglect, or just because you are in a job or you have an identity doesn't mean that you also neglect other areas of your life. They are critical. We all, beyond our finances, we have different areas of our lives. We have our love relationship, we have our marriages, our friends, our spiritual life, our financial, our energy. All those things.
Coach P, the whole conversation around retirement is, you're just giving them buy one, get 10 free. You're giving them get 10 free. It's a whole right? So
yes,
the conversation around retirement is one that, in short, you would be one guest and it would be like 2 hours. And I just want you to wrap it up by saying something to people who are in self-employment on how they can prepare for retirement, the schemes.
So,
yeah, just briefly.
So that's it, essentially. Those are the key points that I have just mentioned. Now let me go back to the younger ones, the ones that are not thinking.
The financial institutions, what they can have access to. Like some people in self-employment don't know that they can, go to Stanbic, and I'm sorry I have to use Stanbic, it's just I'm sure of them, and have their own, retirement pension scheme designed at whatever level that they can start at.
So that conversation on, pension, asset management or pension companies and all of that is a different conversation, and it will be something that will be personalized.
We'll have to come back for,
right?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's not something that we will take out here and all of that.
Wow, especially
because. Sorry.
He's gone. I was just going to. Okay. He's going. Please wrap up. Yeah.
Okay. So for those of us that, or those of you that are not thinking about retirement yet, it's still long term. How is financial education impacting you? We've talked about, for the last hour and a half, we've talked about savings, investments, but there's something I want to point out for you. Your financial freedom, right? And I say it over and over again, lies in the middle of your income and your expenses. That spread is what you do with that spread that moves you towards the journey to financial freedom. So your income minus your expenses. So that means that you have to come back to status quo and start to watch those expenses. Right? And those things that trigger your expense, those things that deprive you of getting that savings and moving to that point where you start to make small investment decisions like savings bonds, but things that create passive income for you, is inside these expenses. And so if you don't learn or start to track your expenses, tracking is a very big word. We think that tracking is very little, but it is rooted inside of us. Many of us don't want to track our expenses. We cannot, even if we wanted to. We have another issue with giving. Are we giving with sense? Are we giving with intention? because we have been conditioned to give obligatorily. So we have to give because we have to give. We have to give because the church demands. We have to give because our parents expect us to give. Our society expects us to give. Our siblings, our conscience expects us to give. But are we giving to the detriment of our financial future? I'm pulling these things out because these are the little things, right? No matter how much you learn, if you don't become aware of...
Pastor Nee has his hand up. Pastor Nee, you have your hand up. You want me to do something?
No, wait,
okay.
just let us
your virtual hand is up.
Right. So if you don't tackle these expenses, right, even no matter the investment products that come to you, right, it will be passing you by. And even when you do it, you will take that money again, that investment income, instead of reinvesting or leaving it to compound over time, you will come back again and spend on it. So what else can you do? You can start to learn what I call that delaying your decisions, your financial decisions. Because if you don't, then you are tempted to want to keep up with the Joneses. You are tempted to want to buy what your friends are buying or live the lifestyle your friends are living. Or you are even tempted to want to keep your lifestyle in to match the income that you earn, which is not even possible, right? So you delay.
One question.
Okay.
Do you and I know because I can see the cluster of people, I can see their names, and some of them based on the demographics that are downloaded. I know the number of people that are in retirement, towards retirement, and all of that. The question I have for you is, do you handhold anybody? Do you handhold people and help them do retirement planning as a paid service?
I don't.
You don't. No. If you just pardon me, because we don't have time, let me stop the conversation around retirement there, because I really want us to focus on some questions that will benefit you and I and Pastor Nee and some people around the call. So what I just want to say...
Sorry. Let me just jump in. That's why I raised my hand, especially when she was talking about tracking our expenses and how it's difficult. I don't think it's difficult. So again, so one thing I do, almost all my spendings are through my card. And anytime I use the card, I get an SMS alert that says you've done this transaction. At the end of the day, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I go back and say, I've spent 5,000 naira on grocery. I mean, it's very, very easy to do. When you track your expenses, you will know where your money is going to. And you will now know whether you are spending money on things that are important to you and that will get you to the direction or to the place you want to be. Then she also talked about giving. Again, you need to have a budget. You know you are going to do giving. So have it as part of your budget. We should not allow things to just be happening to us by chance. That's the mistake a lot of people make. We are moved by emotions, by chance. No, I have a budget for this year. As part of the monthly budget, I have an amount specified for giving. So I am intentional about it. I don't wait until I'm moved by emotions. No. Yes, emergencies do happen. But believe you me sincerely, most of the things we call emergencies are not. A pregnant woman who had 9 months notice of delivery should not come to you and say, I have an emergency, I'm about to give birth. That's not an emergency. The person has at least 9 months notice to plan for it. Oh, it's because it's a CS. No, that's still not an emergency. CS is an option. It's a possibility from the onset that we could have planned for. So I think it's all about people being intentional, be deliberate, know things that are important to you, plan for them. And as you start to spend, record them. There are many apps that we can use to do that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pastor. Both yourself and Coach P have used the word intentional, and it's one of my favorite words. And I see that Coach P uses that a lot. there's nothing we can achieve, without being intentional. One of our participants from the UK, Dr. T, says it's about being intentional. If you want to track, if you don't want to track, you won't track. But if you tell yourself that I'm going to know where my last dollar went to, so I can know where the next dollar is going to, then you have to track. And now, this conversation is a mix of many things. If you see the way it was advertised, what we didn't do right in 2024, and what we can do better in 2025, it's a mix of many things. And I just want to encourage everybody around the call to make sure that you're going back with some deliberate actions that you're going to take for 2025. Coach P has loaded and provided so much, from the perspective of retirement, which wasn't even a major part of the conversation today, but it's buy one, get 10 free. She has given us that bonus. I want to give us another bonus. And honestly, I'm excited. I've always said that I wanted Deepa to come talk to us, and he will still come talk to us as as a full guest. I have himself and another senior friend around the call that would help us wrap up today. But I want to introduce Deepa at this point, and he doesn't know how special he is. I try to tell him at times, and thankfully my husband knows him, so he knows that it's not an affair, and his wife knows me. But you see, I fell in love with Deepa when he forcefully made me take some financial decisions, which I'm eternally grateful to him for. So I've told him that he's going to come and talk to us in this community, but he's also on the call today. And because we are approaching 2025, and there's some poll questions that I got from the audience that I know his expertise will help us have answered. So I said to him, even though we are not yet doing a program where you will be my full guest, please come and help me answer some of these questions today. Now, Deepa is a wealth manager. He used to work for a bank. I'm not going to call the name of the bank, but that's where we met. But he's now currently the principal partner for Mead Investment Partners Limited. Mead, is that pronounced well? Deepa, M-E-A-D.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. And he's into financial advisory, project management, cash flow management, and wealth management. I call him my personal financial advisor, because when I want to take a decision, he's one of the people I run to. I say, what is central bank saying about this matter? By the time he would, finish dissecting and telling me everything, I usually would just go with the last thing, Deepa, what should I do? Because he would have so overloaded me with all the points. Now, I want to ask you, and thank you so much, Deepa, for spending your evening with us. I have 3 questions, and I don't know how you're going to take it, but I'll just read them to you, and please, I want you to, answer and explain to my audience, the responses in a way that they will understand. I have professionals around the call. I have consultants. I also have some young people around the call. Now, diversification, the reason I love you so much. How should we approach investment diversification in the current economic climate? That's one. What strategies can help us mitigate risks associated with market volatility? I'm always running to you when the central bank says this and says that, right? And then another question, how can we adapt our investment strategies in response to rising inflation and interest rates? Now, I'm asking all these questions because I just want you to have a conversation around investment and all these points that, the attendees have put forward. The last one, which I know you're always monitoring, and because of your company, you'll be able to talk about it, says, are there any anticipated policy changes or regulatory developments in 2025 that could impact that could impact our finances or investment strategies? The way I'll come to you and say, Deepa, should I lock up in treasury bills? Will it go down? Will it go? Or what should I do? What are you seeing with the exchange rate and all of that? I give you time to speak to my audience in the way you want to encourage them on what they should do. Should they be investing? I don't want to talk about the different opportunities to invest, but please put it out in your conversation. Of course, we know this is not a recommendation. This is just a conversation. Thank you so much.
Okay, good day, everyone. My name is Latifu Pojo, and thank you for the introduction. It's quite mind-blowing. I'm humbled by your words. So basically, so basically, like I always tell you, ma'am, with the way the Nigerian system is skewed, it really follows the regular textbook pattern. However, there are some things that we should all No. Basically, one of the major determinants of the direction of our economy, either we like it or not, is FX. And that's largely because we are an import-driven economy. The bulk of the things we use are imported. Thankfully, for the petroleum product aspect of it, the Dangote refinery hopefully would take out a large chunk of that and reduce our dependence on FX. Now, that being said, we would see that for the past couple of months, because of the high exchange rate, that's the low Naira to USD exchange, the advent of Japa and foreign exposure has drastically reduced, particularly among the middle class. Now, what that tells us is that we still haven't reached rock bottom, because we still see, if you check the budget for 2025, a large portion of it still is dependent on borrowings locally and foreign. I mean, within the past 2 months, 3 months, we've seen the federal government borrow close to about 6 or 7 billion. There was the USD bond that was done in August, September. There was the 2 or 3 billion Nigerian Euro bond that was done towards the last quarter of the year, 2024 as well too. So that tells us one thing: the CBN, by extension, the federal government, is still trying to shore up the foreign exchange balances of the country, which have been quite stable for a while. However, we're still not yet out of the dungeon, and I still expect that we stay within this range, except, of course, we cut down our expenses, which has not been realistic for the time being. So yes, that particularly deals with the FX. All the policies still tends towards that. The demand still outweighs the supply. If the CBN comes to the market today and auctions whatever amounts, the market would consume it, because the speculative aspect of the market, which cannot be measured, is a large determining factor of where the exchange rate lies. Aside the real demand for goods and services from offshore, the speculative aspect of it, you and I really don't want to hold the bulk of our funds in local currency. Again, most of us tend to use the local currency, that is Naira, for transactional purposes. The real meat of the case is that a lot of these funds chasing USD and other foreign currencies are to hedge against currency volatility, devaluation, and all that. So yes, in adapting to the current reality, it's a given. Inflation is going up. We're at a very precarious situation where we hope that Nigeria produces more oil. When we do, we hope that the prices go up internationally.
I'm sorry, I need to mute somebody, Dippo. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Please, can you mute yourself if you're not the guest speaker? Thank you. I think the person has muted. Yeah, thank you. Okay,
so, however, with all these prayers for good fortunes, also lies the attendant effects. The price of crude oil goes up in the international markets. Our foreign receipts goes up. However, we tend to pay more because the price of the local petroleum products we consume would go up, which has a significant effect on inflation, particularly on the logistics that affects the food baskets in the inflation computation. So yes, we're still not yet completely out of the doldrums yet. And so strategies with risk. It's a very, very broad question, because it has to do with different phase one is in the investment journey. The risk I would expect Madam BK to take is different from what I would expect a green on to take. It's always more customized and bespoke because your margin of error differs. For someone whose entire war chest for investment is 10 million, I wouldn't advise the person to do more than maybe a 20% in the stock market. Someone that has just painstakingly started building up investments to a particular level wouldn't want a situation where he or she wakes up and says, oh, because there's some issue with one company, the stock has gone down, the 2 million you bought now is now 1.6, 1.7, you would explain. A lot of people would understand why that's happened. However, for someone who's got a 200 million and has gotten a 40 million naira interests, peradventure you just bought a 1-year treasury bills that has given you 25% return. 25% of 200 million is 50 million. Technically in your head, okay, you can take a bit of risk on the return on your initial investments, knowing fully well that, okay, yes, you still have that, because the pastor rightly said that really the race we are at now is how to reduce the impact of inflation on our investments. Basically, most investment these days are not outperforming inflation. Even the stock market that's been said, it just basically, if you're able to enter at a particular level, then when you do the year-on-year comparison, then you say, okay, yes, you've gotten a 40% return for the year. But how many people really got that 40%? So it's a race to reduce the effect of the fall on you. That's why you have several options. You have commercial papers, you have several money market options. You even have some foreign currency investment that as low as $1,000, $2,000. I don't want to advertise for some bank, but there are some banks that have a very robust app. With $1,000, you get brochure on what the investment is all about, the risk, the return, the trend analysis and everything, and you can diversify. I always preach diversification because of the kind of environment we are. It's quite volatile, and more so, you have a system where the policy makers are, for lack of a better word, they're sporadic in the policies. One day things are going smoothly, the next day the authorities come up with the policy, and one singular policy can change the whole thing. So it's always imperative. The key thing out of all of this is to seek information. It's been said earlier by the other great speakers ahead of me that always seek information. There are some websites you should go daily. There are some radio programs that discuss business, so you can see things before they happen. The news that a common man would listen to and just count it as news. An investment savvy person is already thinking of the possible outcomes of the news and takes position ahead of time. If prices of something are going to go up, the kind of news you feed yourself in with, rather, would inform the actions you take. So you've gotten the news, you've gotten advice from one or two people, you key in quickly. Say you key in at, say, 20 naira, then it starts going up at, it gets to 40 naira. If you get the information late when it's 40 naira and you think, oh, it's going up, yeah, you get in at 40 naira, it gets to 44 naira, then you get caught up in the web. Profit taking happens. People like me that have gotten at 20, I want to exit. I start to dump gradually. So you have bought at 40, I bought at 20. It's still very profitable for me if I sell at 35, if I sell at 30, which is already a loss for you. That's why it's important that you seek information, you network properly in an ecosystem where, even without you seeking for it, the information finds you, and it's broken down into ways that you can know your action points and know the next thing to do. I think that's summary of everything I have to say.
Thank you so much, Dipo, and thank you for pointing out this networking bits, because it brings out one very important thing that I really want people around the call to, to key into. There's some WhatsApp groups, and I'm not talking, the Ponzi schemes and all those people that advertise microwave opportunities. Now, you talked about network and hearing information on time. Now, there's for example, it's an example, I belong to Business Day WhatsApp group. Now, they put a lot of information there, and the language you use now, where the actionable points will come out for you, don't really come out in that group, because it's a whole lot of information from the newspaper, right? I also belong to another group that focuses just on investment, just capital market. And it's one of the groups that Pastor Niyi champions. So in that cluster, I'm not, I'm not the one in charge of the capital market, my capital market portfolio. So I don't really, pay much attention to what they do on that forum. But people who trade and people who are even investing long term, they discuss how the shares go up and down and everything. We all can be, stock market traders. But what you've just said is important. Stay connected to a group of people where in 2025, you will hear when things are happening. Now, I was invited to speak on a platform late last year, and a day before the program, my friend sent me a webinar invitation for a group that was advertising investing in gold. Dipo, are you with me? Investing in gold. And I went to her and I said, why did you do this? Why didn't you tell me all along? Why didn't you tell me about this? And I would not have heard about that opportunity. It's not as if I've taken any decision, which is also one of the things I can look back to 2024 and say, Bimbo, you should have done that better. Now, the only reason I heard about that platform, I mean, the community, or that's even, the trading in gold and all of that, was because my friend shared it with me. Okay. And then I was going to speak to a group of women, but I didn't share that information because I didn't have enough information. But I promised them that when I come for a part 2 of the conversation, we will talk about trading in gold. The reason I'm giving this as an example is because you use the word connected. Stay connected, with groups where you will get information. And thank you also for calling the attention of the audience to radio programs. You see, I had asked Coach P, and she gave us so many ways where we can get financial education. But one of the ways, apart from joining conversations like this, is to have constant opportunities to hear. And you use the word break it down, that will tell you the action to take. Some of us can get very lazy. We just come and say, please advise me, what should I do? Because you have someone you trust that can tell you. But sometimes you also need to understand what is happening before you take the decision. Thank you so much, Dipo. I'm not so sure now, but I know it's not enough time to do all that we need to do when it comes to investment, but I wanted the people around the call. I have a few people who are joining us from outside of Nigeria, and I wanted them to hear and know that we all have actions to take. I was talking to Coach P earlier on when we talked about accountability partner. I don't know when you joined the program, Dipo, and we said we all need someone to make us do what we need to do. And so,
yes,
going away from today's conversation, and I'm so glad and grateful to the 52 people around the call who stayed back. It's not that we're going to, we can deal with everything. I hope that I was able to at least ginger us up, no matter the stage of life that we're in. Coach P started so powerfully by saying, don't be ashamed of the mistakes that you made in 2024. For example, I was harassing somebody. You didn't tell me about opportunities to trade in gold. What have I done with the information? How slow and how fast can you be? Now, so we all need to be honest with ourselves, which is why I gave the analogy of the man who is pretending to sleep. Look at yourself. What mistakes have you made in 2024, and how can you do things better in 2025? Did you work with a budget? Did you have a budget? Coach P talked about flexible plans. She said one of the mistakes or errors that she saw in 2024 was people not, having flexible plans. They just talk in the way they started. Do you even have a plan? Do you even have a plan? We say that it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Are you building your ark for the raining day? And there are so many resources. Some people have paid services. I've brought a coach to a program before who has a paid service for planning people to retire into dignity. I've also brought a lady who spoke about retirement also, and so there are so many resources that you can use to help yourself. But like we said again, and one of my attendees, Dr. T, she says you have to be intentional. I'm going to ask one of my senior friends around the call to help us wrap up today, a few comments, but I'm very grateful to you, Coach P. You're no longer, you're probably onto something else, but I wanted to ask you another question, but we'll have a part 2. I want to thank Pastor Nee, I want to thank Coach P, and Deep Boy, I'm forever grateful. We'll still have that conversation where it will be only you, and we'll bombard you with questions. Because I hope some of your questions, I was able to get Deeper to answer them, because those 3 questions were from one of our senior colleagues who's a member of this community. She asked those questions. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I want to introduce Mr. Aderele Oni. How are you, sir? Are you muted? How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, thank you so much.
It's nice to be here. Good evening.
Yes, sir. I know how busy you can be. Yeah. Thank you, Dipo. I have one question for you, and then you can help us wrap up. And Mr. Aderele Oni is the Chief Executive of Richway Microfinance. It's an award-winning microfinance organization. And he used to be the MD of First Bank in South Africa. Is that the right word? Right? Am I correct, Mr. Oni? Okay, and so
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So he's going to. I have just one question for him, and then he'll wrap up with whatever perspective or advice that he has for my community this evening. Ajo versus saving. I wanted to talk about that. Somebody that I mentor who is doing so well said to me that she belongs to a group of people, and I think there are about 6 or 8 or so, and they do a 1 million naira Ajo every month. And I said to her, be the first to pack, be the first to pack. No, but that's just a joke. I want you to talk to us about Ajo. Is that the right way to save? Because some of the questions we had is that people are struggling to save. And what are the opportunities with your organization, to build up savings, which can then translate to investments?
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Bimbo. And thanks to Pastor Nee, Coach P, and Dipo for the fine delivery you've given to us this evening. I think I'm a better person. I haven't listened to you. But permit me in 2 minutes to also chip in a few things on these multiple streams of income.
All right,
it's a common thing, especially among the Gen Z. I want to make more money. I want to make more money. But there are 2 classes of people here. There is one that are business owners, self-employed people. The advice from my end and from the little I know is that we don't want to wait for tomorrow. We want to take action today. We want to avoid procrastinating. We want to do things that we have decided to do relating to the success of our business immediately. I remember I was involved in the construction or development of an housing estate. November 2023 is a 44 units, 44 flats of a 1-bedroom flat. In November 2023, the electrician came with an estimate of 7 million. We told them that it's too expensive for the cables, just the wiring, to buy the materials. In February 2024, they brought 11 million. We paid 47 million in August 2024 to buy the same material. Wow. What we will have bought for meager 7 million. I also remember when they quoted for tiles. Again, it was 11 million in August 2023. We eventually bought tiles for 52 million in November 2024. You can see why waiting for tomorrow can be dangerous, especially in this part of the world. So For those of us who are business owners, who are self-employed, let us take immediate decision and let us move fast. Don't wait and don't wait. I guess that is what Pastor Nii and Coach P have been emphasizing. I picked that from their words or from their presentations. Then, no matter how small, we want to start savings. And that's what Pastor Bimbo just mentioned. We want to start saving, no matter how small. I remember we started Richway 8 years ago, and somebody said we should begin target savings, or what they call ajo in the conventional world. He said somebody asked him, he's a big executive in a bank. He's an ED in a commercial bank. He's a friend, very good friend of mine. He told me, really, you know, somebody asked me how much savings he had. He told the person, savings. Total money. That this is true. He doesn't have anything in savings that he was keeping as the director. But he said he's never broke, but he has money. But in terms of saving, he had nothing as savings. That was what gave rise to our target savings. And today, in our service target savings, where people save monthly, some save daily, some save weekly, some save fortnightly, depending on your cash flow, we have over 1 billion naira in our target savings today. And the number of people, I remember during our 7-year anniversaries, people came to tell us what our target savings have done to them. So you don't need to be doing cluster of contribution. Mr. Dikpo, Pastor P, Coach P, want to come together and be contributing. I'll take the first month, you take the second one. You realize that these days, people run away with money. I'm sorry, I've used it when it gets to his turn. So avoid that. You can begin target savings on your own. And you don't need to come to the bank. You can easily just open an account via your phone and begin the savings. Secondly, for those of us that are self-employed, I guess from my end, the tips is that let us avoid flying about like birds this year. A number of Gen Z, you realize that we are no longer stable. We'll spend 3 months in GT Bank. GT Bank is a stable bank, but after 3 months, you run to Eco Bank. After Eco Bank, you run another 6 months, you find the CV is already in First Bank. Within 2 years, you see some younger generation work in 7 places just in 2 years. Let us avoid that. Let us avoid flying about like the birds. This year, I want to endeavor to be stable. We want to improve in whatever assignment we have given in our offices, in our employment. Strive to be the best. Once you are the best, you will be recognized. The business owner will never want you to leave and be compensated. It is at that place that people will come in to poach you. So the work today is not to be moving from Richway to Axiom, from Axiom to Lapo, from Lapo to wherever. We want to be stable and be the best in whatsoever we do. Reality is that we've done interviews over time. Somebody in 2 years does not even have a single experience in a single role. Why? He has been moving around 3 months here, 6 months there, 9 months there. And that makes us not to really, we cannot become an expert in anywhere. We'll just be flying about. So we want to avoid that this year if we are in a paid employment. We want to be the best, be stable. They will come in to poach us at the right time. And I want to see this, we also want to, no matter how little or how meager our salary is, we want to encourage saving culture. If my salary is 100,000, if it's 250,000, if it's 500,000, if it's 750,000, no matter how much, let us set a target. I must save 10% of my salary, no matter what. So that at the end of the day, even if it's just a little 100,000 you have saved, it matters a lot. It can be 1 million naira you have saved, depending on your spouse. So let us ensure that this year we develop a saving culture. So I guess that's the way I want to wrap up. For ease of how to start it if you have not started it. There are so many banks who are doing target savings that you can easily open an account with them. And if you want to do with us, Richway Microfinance, you can download that on our mobile app. But don't forget the tips that Pastor Coach P, Pastor Niyi, and Mr. Dipo has actually put across to us today. We want to take them to heart. Multiple stream of income will definitely come. We know it will come, but we don't want to go beyond our means. But don't forget one watchword this year: integrity. If we are business owners, we must have that integrity. If you have, you see that more customers will come. More people, you have a lot of referrals. For those of us in paid employment, never forget to be professional and to be honest with your work. Honest day pay for honest day work. Thank you very much to everyone. We appreciate your time. It's been an interesting moment, and I want to be part of the next one too. I will be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. What a beautiful way to wrap it up. Thank you so much for emphasizing integrity. You know, there's a solicitor that I use, and I've used her now for over 10 years. Well, when I say I have, it's my husband and I. And because of her professionalism, when we are asked to recommend or refer a lawyer, she's always number one. And that's because she takes her job she's so professional about her job, and she's committed, and you use the word integrity. And so referrals come to her because she's doing the right thing. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you also for pointing out about starting, to save, because it's savings that then translates to investments. You cannot take the whole of your salary of 1 month and invest it. You have to eat. You have to meet your basic needs, but you have to build up your savings, have that saving culture, take a little out of your monthly earnings, build up savings that is large enough to invest in one of the products that Deepa told us about, and then that's how you build investment over time. I want to beg everybody around the call, if you're a member of this community in 2024 and you did not buy any, you did not send money to any investment, be it federal government of Nigerian bonds, or you did not even buy maybe a 50,000 naira worth of stock, please put it on your to-do list that this year will not be like 2024. There are small things that we can do. I have an article on my website that is titled Investment Options for Low and High Income Earners. We have also had, in the past, it was Pastor Ayodejebo, he's now Dr. Ayodejebo has come to talk to us on this platform about investment, about 3 recordings on our YouTube channel. Now, if it's only the portion where Mr. Oni wrapped up today, you want to listen to this over and over again, not to talk of the fact that from the conversation from the beginning with Coach P and Pastor Niyi and then Deepo and now Mr. Oni, you want to listen to this over and over again. And you want to ask yourself at the end of every month, I was part of the January 18 money conversation, February 18 or at the end of February, what have I done differently? Before you know it, the year runs by. But set targets. Coach P said, let it be flexible, be conscious of what you're doing, what you have set out to do. And I say it again, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. You have to prepare. Also, I like to say it often that if you don't know where you're going to, you will end up where you don't like. Now, because Dr. T is my father's daughter and my mother's daughter, about the same time that Pastor Niyi said that 2 things should not meet someone in old age, as I was typing, Dr. T was also typing. I said, blood is smelling, like they say in Yoruba, and that's that poverty and old age are 2 things that should not meet themselves in anybody's life. Thank you so much, everybody. I have my friends, my senior friends, my junior friends, my mentees, all of you that took our time to do this. I'm so happy to see you all, and I'm very grateful on your behalf. I'm grateful to those that have shared out of their wealth of knowledge with us today. Now, I want to thank Admiral Komolafe. I know he's online. He likes to appear anonymous, but we know he's online. He's the rock behind Finance Coach BK. I mean, after Jehovah, after God Almighty, the next rock is Admiral Komolafe. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. And I know this is your comment.
We thank you, sir. Admiral, we thank you, sir, for the support. We appreciate you. May the Almighty God continue to bless your post, sir. Thank you, sir.
So thank you so much. I can see a comment that says, and I think it was when Pastor Niyi was talking about retirement, or maybe when it was Coach P talking about retirement, and Zoom user, which I suspect is my anonymous participant, says, what is your net worth? Identify your net worth, reappraise it, review and redistribute to achieve better values and returns. Do this regularly. And now this question, this might appear to be for those who have arrived, but no matter what level of life that you are at, you want to know what you're worth. And net worth is what are you owing and what do you own? The net of what you owe and what you own is your net worth. And so even if right now your net worth is negative, in other words, you're owing more than you own, you want to be strategic. You want to say to yourself that before the end of 2025, I don't want to owe this level. It might even be that you'll still be owing because there are things happening, but you want to say, I am not going to carry this level of net liability. We're not going to go into net assets and net liabilities, but your net worth is the difference between your assets and your liabilities. You want to own more than you owe. Remember, there is not a crime to owe. It is what you do with what you borrow. That's another conversation for another day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please put comments in the chat box. I will leave it on for a while before we wrap up the call. I want to thank Dr. Ose Okoye for joining us. I want to thank Madam Toyin Mozua from Abuja. I want to thank, let me see, the names are not showing so well there. I want to thank Sally Achesa Ichi, Jeffrey, Theodora, Mommy Fola. You didn't speak today. Thank you so much. Mommy Fola is a very senior member of our community. She's a good investor, and I always like her to share her experience. She's one person who was intentional about retirement. I want to thank Mr. or Miss Mianos, Zoom user. We know who you are. Madam Toyin Olowo Ake, thank you for joining us. My sister, Alina Susan, thank you so much. My namesake, Mrs. Abimbola Lawi. I know that some of your community were part of this, and thank you so much for bringing awareness to this program today. She Class, I don't know who joined with that handle. Thank you for joining us. Victoria Okonko, Amarachi, Dr. Theo is one of our speakers. He speaks at our annual workshops. Thank you, sir, for joining. I wonder why I forgot to put you on the hot seat today. Thank you for joining us, sir. Akombi Williams, Your Honor, Madam Famobiwo, good to see you. Rosanna Oriye, thank you for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, please stay connected to this community. We share on our page daily, like Coach P said, and please connect with Coach P online as well. She shares daily on her page, and you can see when she has a speaking event, and you may want to connect with the speaking event. So please join and follow her online. Can my team please put Coach P's handles online? Thank you, Mildred Ogwara. Pastor Peter, I think I saw Dr. Mrs. online, though, and she's one of my guests from the UK. That's if she's not in Nigeria right now. Thank you, Pastor P. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the honor. Amafa Oluwa Fumilayo, thank you for joining us. I don't know who that is. Thank you for joining us. Okioma. Mr. Damilola Opnell from Canada, thank you for joining us. John Adeyemi, good to see you. Ngozi, are you the hold my hand up? Thank you so much, beloved sister. I love you so much. Madam Bumi, my agripreneur. One day we should have a conversation around agripreneur. How do they pronounce it? Isioma. Thank you all. I appreciate you. Let 2025 be better than 2024. This is not a paid service. We just want things to be better, because if each and every one of you get to financial freedom, if you create wealth, then you can help people around you. Many more people will be helped. And that's what we are passionate about, to help the people around us. And to my team, Dorcas and Timothy, thank you so much for holding this up. Christy Vincent, thank you so much. Jeffrey, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Stay connected to our forum. And if you want to connect with any of the speakers, just send an email to financecoachtoday@gmail.com, or go to any of our pages and see how you can connect with us. If you have specific questions for Deepo, somebody has already asked for how they can meet Deepo. I've asked for them to send an email. If you want to connect with Coach P over anything that she said, or you want her to be a speaker at any of your events, we can connect you. Pastor Nee says he's not a coach, but he's a coach of coaches. If you have any specific question for him, and someone is already saying, I want you to bring Pastor Nee back. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless you. And may 2025 be a fruitful one for us all in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Thank you all.